It's 8 a.m., and Willie Mosley is preparing to serve. As his faithful crew takes care of eggs, sausage, and pancakes, this Albany, Georgia native focuses on biscuits. Not just any biscuits, but a special recipe from his grandmother, who taught him the skill when he was a child. Mosley's life has not been without mistakes, but he's paid for them, several years in the penitentiary. And once his debt was paid, Mosley decided to give back the very thing he was given, a second chance.
So at first I started serving my family with them, and they said they were so delicious. And so I said, well, maybe we have breakfast all the time. Maybe we should share them with the people. And they start getting better and better. Each pan is like my grandmother touched them herself. And I just love making them.
That love goes full force into this effort. Our Daily Bread is a special service at Atlanta Urban Foursquare Church for the people of Lakewood who need it. As one of Atlanta's most impoverished communities, there are many. Twice a week, the church opens its doors to offer a hot breakfast for the body.
What's one of the shortest books in the New Testament?
And a nourishing word for the soul. Mark Anthony Mitchell is senior pastor.
8 out of 10 of our families are single-parent families. Most of the guys are felon. Most people are dealing with substance abuse and felonies because of the hopelessness that they have.
Mitchell can relate. They are reminiscent of his own background.
I remember experiencing the riots in 1969, right after the death of Martin Luther King. And from that moment on, my whole thing has been about how do we better the conditions of the poor and the oppressed.
A former drug runner and convicted felon, Mitchell turned it around. He is a Morehouse University graduate with a master's degree from Harvard. He never forgot the questions he asked himself about improving the lives of the poor and the oppressed. He came to Atlanta to do something about it. His church has been offering food, free preschool, and clothing, among other services, but with an emphasis on self-sufficiency. When a local charity lost its funding and could no longer provide food, this group took matters into their own hands. This plastic jug is passed around during breakfast. Those who eat are asked to provide a donation towards their next meal. So money they collect from odd jobs or donations they receive are given in order to keep the food coming, making this more of a restaurant than a typical soup kitchen.
Well, here's what I have to contribute, and Xavier and everyone started putting in the jug, and we had enough for breakfast.
Mitchell likens the church's work to the efforts of Martin Luther King Jr.'s Poor People's Campaign, which was initiated in 1967. An effort with the intent of improving conditions by providing jobs, unemployment insurance, a fair minimum wage, and better education. King believed blacks and other minorities would never enter full citizenship until they had economic security. Although his assassination the following year meant it would continue without its leader, many, like Pastor Mitchell, have picked up the mantle and fought to carry out its mission.
We have churches on every corner, in this neighborhood, in the hood. But because, again, they have limited means, they're nothing but social clubs. They're not doing anything to change the environment or the conditions of that community, or the people, or to transform.
But the Atlanta Urban Foursquare Church has witnessed transformation. Many of the volunteers here have been rehabilitated, and they're also giving back. Volunteers like Angela Destells, when she grew weary of her lifestyle with drugs, this church had its doors wide open.
Had I not had this church, I probably would not be clean today. I would not have had a place to go as a refuge. This church has been a stronghold and a refuge in my sobriety. It's been an anchor.
An anchor many hope will remain. But the church is fighting to avoid eviction. A grant that had been supplying the church ran out, and it may have to close its doors. But the fight to provide for others continues. Ironically, the church needs help in order to continue helping others. And the call to action is now your call.
We read one day, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But if a man doesn't have a job or an income,